The Inspector General's report says that about 90% of your investigators are criminal investigators. His report also says that given the structure of the Magnuson-Stevens Act, that the office has a disproportionate number of criminal investigators. This raises a question about your own philosophy. Do you think people who are in violation or could be in violation of regulations, where they're essentially administrative penalties, is it your opinion that they're criminals?
Absolutely not. And again, you raised the term that is his philosophy, and I have to take a very careful look at what he's presented to us. And
no, what's your philosophy, not his philosophy? Do you believe these people are criminals?
No, I do not believe they're criminals.
Then why do you have so many criminal investigators? I don't understand that.
The reason that we are in that we have criminal investigators in this position really goes back to the overall process of what's occurred over the 40 years that the agency's been in existence. And
I'm not talking about 40 years, Mr. Jones. I'm talking about your experience. Why did you have so many criminal investigators? I don't understand.
The reason that we have criminal investigators is because they present to us the widest skill set and the deepest skill set that we have available to actually conduct the business that we have to conduct on a vast geographic and complex mission.
But the Inspector General says that according to the OLE, violations of the Act typically do not result in criminal charges. Most violations, such as exceeding catch limits, result in administrative penalties alone. I raise this question because if you bring a mindset to a task that says, well, these are a bunch of criminals, get criminal investigators help confirm that, you take a whole different approach in enforcement. I just wanted to point that out. Now, Mr. Jones, isn't it true that in December you wrote a director's note to the Office for Law Enforcement staff in which you said, quote, "We really have nothing to fear coming as a result of the Office of Inspector General review. We need not ask permission to nor apologize for doing our job," unquote. Did you say that, or did you write that?
Yes, I did.
And now that the IG report is out criticizing the job that you've done, and the NOAA administrator has issued a reform plan, I wonder if you still feel that you and your leadership of the Office for Law Enforcement do not face any need to make any significant changes.
The letter was directed to our entire employee group, and it was directed in a manner that was intended to encourage people that were undergoing a great deal of morale stress in terms of the overall report.
What do you think, though? What do you think?
At this point, as I stated earlier, we are going to do everything to follow Dr. Luchenko's lead and to resolve the issue.
You. What do you think? Not what do we think. What do you think?
As I stated, I personally am committed to following through with the direction that I receive and to making the appropriate changes and to go to the philosophy, if you will, that this leadership wants us to go in or directs us to go in. That's what I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Now, questions have been raised about your management of the Asset Forfeiture Fund. The agency has found that the Office for Law Enforcement did not maintain customary internal controls over the Asset Forfeiture Fund. And then they went ahead and commissioned an audit by forensic accountants. Are you as sure, and are you sure that the accountants won't find any wrongdoing? Since you've had custody of this for years, are you pretty sure that Asset Forfeiture Fund was run on the up and up, no problem?
Yes, I'm very confident of that. The fund expenditures are spent in the same manner and with the same protocols as are the other appropriated funds within NOAA. This money goes into a NOAA account, and we follow the protocols that NOAA has in place to spend money. In fact, there are some more restrictions on the expenditure of fund monies. As you well know, the Magnuson Act specifies what that money can be spent.
Well, let me ask you this. Isn't it true that you've taken the Asset Forfeiture Fund, you've charged it rather, for international travel that you've taken?
My office is not much. There may be some out of the Office of Law Enforcement.
Not office, you.
Me personally, I don't believe I've done international travel. Most of my travel.
Let me ask the Inspector General, do you have any evidence that Mr. Jones has taken any international travel using Asset Forfeiture Fund monies?
Sir, some of the preliminary results from the forensic review that we're doing does indicate that there's been international travel charged to that fund And I do believe that it shows that it was travel charged to by Mr. Jones, yes.
I